Welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Central Europe here in the capital of Hungary, Budapest. I hope everybody is having a fantastic weekend so far and is ready for this live IELTS class, focusing on speaking part 3, the challenging, detailed questions after part 2. Hi, Joseph. Hi, Homer. Hi, Luxmi. Good to see our member Awaz in the class. Hi, Violet Newman, one of our regular attendees. Great to see many students. These lessons do come from our websites, aehelp.com for academic IELTS. Check us out there. Try our premium course. And for general, check us out at gieltshelp.com on both of these websites. We have loads of materials for you. Hi, Carolina. Good to see you in this class as well. I hope you're doing fantastic. The websites look like this. This is the academic website here with the blue background. Click that big red button to join the premium package, or that green button to try it for free. We are an official British Council IELTS registration center. If you're in Saudi Arabia, you can register through us for your exam. This is the general IELTS portal here with the green background. Click that red button to join us there. When you have your web accounts, you can also link your app account, download the apps Academic IELTS Help and General IELTS Help from your Google Play and Apple App Stores. You can link your app and your web account to study from the same account. If you have questions, just send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com, and I will gladly get back to you as soon as possible. The schedule, January 11th to the 15th. Okay, so today, part 3, speaking, no class Sunday to Tuesday, so Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, no classes. And then class again on the 15th on Wednesday with speaking part 1. That's for everyone. And then on the 16th, task 1 for members, and lots more classes. These classes and the schedule will be in the YouTube community board on our channel as well. Students, this is a speaking class and we're going to get right into it. So make sure you speak and repeat. Use your voice. Speak loud. Speak confident. Okay. Rupak says, thank you, sir. I got 7 on IELTS because of you. Rupak, not only that band 7, but you get my ultimate thumbs up. That's fantastic, Rupak. Good job. I'm really, really happy to have helped you on your journey. If you have a minute, please send me an email. I would love to get your testimonial as well. And you can join many of our other students on our testimonial board. That's excellent, Rupak. Good for you. All right, students. So speaking part 3 flows from speaking part 2. So always when you do speaking part 2, the cue card, I'm sure some of you were in the class half an hour ago with the speaking part 2. After you're done speaking part 2, the examiner will say, okay, your 2 minutes is up. Please give back the card with the questions, the note paper, the pencil, the pen. And now we will continue with part 3. For part 3, I will ask you more questions related to the topic of part 2. This is a very important phrase, related to the topic of part 2. That means it's connected, okay? And so for this, before we get into part 3, just a quick review of our part 2 response from the last class. If you were in the last class and you saw this, that's great. This is an extra bit of exercise for you. So everybody together, let's speak, repeat. Try not to read, okay? Try to just repeat me without reading. If you can't, then you can cheat. Take a look at the board. Otherwise, just try to repeat me. So this was the part 2 response. This is important because we're going to link our part 3 answers to our part 2 response. Okay? All right, here we go. A very polluted place that I have seen last year is the Hudson Bay in Canada. This is one of the largest bays in the world, located in northeastern Canada between the provinces of Quebec, Newfoundland, and Manitoba. It is a part of the North Atlantic Ocean. It has thousands of kilometers of shoreline with many cities and lush green forests surrounding it. The bay today and over the past few centuries has been used for a wide range of activities, including logging, fishing, oil transport, exports and imports, as well as tourism, like cruise ships. All of this human activity and industrialization has led to extensive pollution. In the 1800s, the water was a clear dark blue color, but these days, pollution has turned it into a murky, dark green to brown, yucky color. This pollution has not only affected the creatures living in the water, like fish and seals, but it is also degrading the quality of life for the citizens living in its close vicinity. In recent years, the situation has become so dire that several species of animals have become extinct and many people are moving away. There should be an environmental initiative to keep regular checks on the various activities that take place there, and this could include reducing the number of cruise ships allowed into the bay each year. I believe that the Canadian government is mostly responsible to make this happen. All right, so that was our 2-minute part 2 response. Now, let's get right into part 3. As we answer the questions for part 3, I will give you feedback, corrections, and strategies to get those higher scores. Okay? Joseph, you should focus on speaking. You should also read every day. Reading is very important for your upcoming exam. So read every day a book, not just passages. And study the other sections of the test as well. Okay, students, here we go. Good luck, Lord Darius, on your exam tomorrow. Here we go. First question. Let's talk about pollution. So this is where your examiner says, okay, let's talk about pollution. What are the different types of pollution that can be commonly observed in society? Give me a nice full sentence answer for this question. Use the question to help you. Don't overthink it. Remember answer, explain, and example. Marasa says there are several types of pollution, which is usually noted by individuals. The ones that come to mind right now are air, land, and water pollution, as well as noise pollution. Good, Marasa. Marasa, remember, adjectives can come in a sequence before the same noun, right? So air, land, water, and noise pollution. You don't have to say pollution each time, okay? Pedram says air pollution and water pollution, like Central River, which leads to the Hudson Bay that I just talked about, because people are using it every day. Pedram, good. Just last week, I heard the news that water pollution is somehow affecting air pollution as well. Okay, I think that last part, Pedram, is overreaching, but I love how you made the connection with water pollution and Hudson Bay that we just talked about. That's the right idea. That's how you have a higher coherence mark, more grammar range, and therefore a better band score, right? Okay, so Funny Video says water pollution. Types, it's plural. Definitely you need to answer plural. Awaz says, well, there are two types of pollution which can be noticed in society generally. First is air pollution, and the second is water pollution. Yeah, Awaz, I would say land pollution is quite common as well. Again, remember, join your ideas to part 2, students. You just talked about water pollution, So maybe start with that concept and then go from there. Okay? All right. Imad says, I'm a big fan of this channel and learning English from this channel. Thank you so much, and tons of hearts. Thanks, Imad. That's great. I'm happy to be your teacher, and I'm happy that you're learning. Okay, Asila Azizova says, personally, I think air pollution, traffic pollution, water and noise pollution are different kinds of pollution. Okay, Asila, careful. You have a little bit of an information mistake there. Traffic pollution is a source of pollution. Here we're talking about types of pollution. So water and noise pollution are types of pollution, certainly. Traffic is a source of pollution. That's a little bit different. Okay, so careful with that one. I wouldn't mix that in there because it drops the coherence. It's confusing for your listener. What do you mean traffic pollution? Like all the cars on the road are the pollution themselves? They kind of look like it. Imalu Elsa says, generally there are two types of pollution which affect people in several ways, air and water pollution. I've seen a couple students state which affects people, but I didn't ask about that. I just said observed in society, which means noticed by people, but it doesn't necessarily mean affecting people. It could be affecting others as well, animals and plants and such, right? Okay. Jay Kira says the most common pollution seen in our society are noise pollution and air pollution and water pollution, which is increasing rapidly. Spreading, Jay, is maybe not the best verb there. Okay, let's see. Isana Burr says, nowadays there are different types of pollution observed in society, such as air, water, as well as land pollution. Nice, Isana. Good use of the question. Okay, so this is what I would write, students. Here's my answer. Again, I suggest a good trick. Okay, I'm going to write this for you as a strategy right away. Strategy 1. You can usually use your part 2 response, especially if you gave a good response. You can usually use your part 2 response right away as the first part of your first question in part 3. This is good because it shows that you are listening to the instructions and creating cohesion and coherence. Okay, so notice how I do this. So we just reviewed part 2 about Hudson Bay, and we talked about water pollution there, right? So aside from water pollution, as I had just described in relation to the Hudson Bay, other common forms of pollution are air, land, and noise pollution, which affect both people, animals, as well as plants. Okay? So that would be your nice high band answer where you're creating that cohesion and you're creating that coherence. Okay? So repeat after me, students. What are the different types of pollution that can be commonly observed in society? Aside from water pollution, as I had just mentioned in relation to the Hudson Bay, other common forms of pollution include air, land, and noise pollution, especially close or in cities, such as Vancouver. Okay, all right. Now, with Part 3, expect the examiner to ask you a follow-up question, okay? The follow-up question will likely be something like, which of these is the most harmful and why? Okay? So the examiner will definitely ask you a follow-up question. Don't overthink it. You don't have to tell the truth. You don't have to have a perfect answer. It just has to be a believable, good answer. So choose quickly and communicate your ideas clearly. So which of these is the most harmful and why? Okay, let's see what you have for your answers. Asila Azizova says, I think one of the most harmful kinds of pollution is noise and air because it creates such a bad circumstance for mankind. Asila, don't choose two, okay? Whenever your examiner has a question like which one of these, choose one, okay? Again, students, be really careful with your plurals and singulars. So if the question says, what are other types? It's a plural. You have to give at least two, hopefully three. When the question is which is your favorite or which of these is the most harmful, you have to choose just one, okay? Just one, all right? Pedram says air pollution, of course, because many people can stay away from the water and not get affected by it, but they cannot avoid the air. And this has detrimental effects on people's health. Okay, good, Pedram, good, especially young children and the elderly, Pedram. Good, so Pedram, very good. You chose air pollution, you went with it, you explained it. Pedram, hint, hint, throw in an example and I'll give you that band 9 with a little gold star beside it as well, okay? Funny Videos says, in my perception, I think air pollution is the most harmful because of all the activities related to humans needing the air. Okay, Funny Videos, it's a good start. Careful not to repeat the words pollution unnecessarily, especially because we don't really have synonyms for that word. And explain yourself in a little bit more detail. What do you mean many activities are related to it? Like walking out in the park, right? Going for a picnic. So explain to me what you mean by that, right? Roshni says, absolutely all play a major impact, but definitely land pollution affects more individuals and animals, like dumping plastics, which are eaten by animals such as cows. As a result, okay, Roshni, good. Roshni, careful with your grammar. Roshni, I want you to always take what you write and copy paste it into a Word document, and then copy paste it into a Google Drive document and use Grammarly in your Google Drive to show you what your grammar mistakes are. Okay, Roshni, did you catch that? So take your comments. They're really good. You're very close. Put it into a Google Drive document. Just title your document speaking on January 11th, and then copy paste your writing. Do it twice so you can always see the original with the mistakes, and then run Grammarly through it so you can have Grammarly fix it for you. And then say it. So say the way Grammarly shows you to say it, okay? I used Roshni as an example there, and thank you for that, Roshni, but that applies to everybody who is having trouble with grammar, okay? It's a good way to improve your grammar without paying too much money, unless you decide to buy the full version of Grammarly, but even the free version works really well. Okay, so we have some more answers. Let's see what Purna wrote. I think air pollution is the biggest problem that we have been facing from day to day, leading to dramatical climate change. For example, the rise in temperature leading to forest fires, such as the ones burning in the Amazon and in northern Russia. Very good, Purna. Good. Again, students, remember to throw in that smooth flowing example, okay? So, well, I think all of these are cause for concern, but the most threatening of them all, I would say, is air pollution, because it not only makes breathing difficult for humans and animals, but is also putting holes into the ozone layer, which is resulting in climate change and may even lead to the extinction of humans as well as other life on Earth. All right. So here I gave you a nice complex response with correlative, subordinating conjunctions, some new vocabulary that might be useful for you. Again, repeat after me. Which of these is the most harmful and why? Well, I think all of these are a cause for concern, but the most threatening type of pollution is air pollution, because it's not only making it difficult for humans and animals to breathe, but it's also putting holes into the ozone layer, which results in climate change, and this could lead to the extinction of man and other species. All right, students, let's keep going. You're doing a fantastic job. A lot of you are kind of wondering, like, how much should I talk for these questions in part 3? So, like, what should be my limit? Okay, what's too much? What's too little? I know that a lot of students have heard from me and other teachers online and other teachers maybe in life that, okay, you don't want to speak too short. You don't want to speak too long. So what is correct? So what's the right amount? Interestingly, the right amount is roughly the amount that you can write into one chat box, okay? What I wrote here is roughly about how much I could write into the chat, okay? Answer, explain, example. That's about how much you should say. Nice and fluent. Make sure that all of what you say is directly related to the question. Those are all some really important tips, okay, to get those high band scores. So what you should practice at home is being fluent in saying this much information. That means you should practice saying chunks of English, okay, not just words. So sometimes students go, well, I think all of these are, so they're saying it word by word, maybe trying to translate. It's fine. It's a stage in the evolution of language learning, so that's okay. What you want to do is keep practicing by speaking lots, by recording yourself, by listening back, repeating yourself, and you want to focus on speaking in blocks, so speaking in chunks of phrases and not individual words, okay? So what you want to do is, well, I think all of these are causes for concern, but the most threatening of them all, I would say, is air pollution because it not only makes breathing difficult for humans and animals, but it's also putting holes into the ozone layer, which is resulting in climate change and may eventually lead to the extinction of humans as well as other life on Earth. So those are the chunks of English. Those are the phrases, okay? And you should practice that. So on a piece of paper, what you can do is you can separate, well, I think all of these are causes for concern, but the most threatening of them all, I would say, is air pollution, because it not only makes breathing difficult for humans and animals, but is also putting holes into the ozone layer, which is resulting in climate change and may eventually lead to the extinction of humans as well as other life on Earth. You might put another one here, up to you, okay? So these are the chunks that you want to practice for fluency. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so does it make sense how I just showed you what you want to focus on for your fluency, that you're speaking in chunks? And it will be a little bit difficult, challenging at the beginning, but when you do it and keep practicing it, your brain will click. And instead of thinking about the words, it will think about the phrases, okay? So practice that. And again, do this exercise that I just showed you where you basically do these separations, okay? If you're having trouble with longer chunks, then try to break them into shorter 3, 4, 5 word pieces, okay? And practice it that way, okay? All right. So, Pachu says collocations, kind of Pachu. Collocations is a little bit different, but it's kind of the right thought, okay? All right, let's go to the next question. Here we are. So, the examiner will now ask you, why has pollution become a much more serious concern these days than a couple hundred years ago? Okay. So why has pollution become a much more serious concern these days than a couple of hundred years ago? Let's see your answers. Happy Singh says, due to advancements in technology, pollution has become a serious concern today more than in the past, like vehicles, industries that run on fossil fuels, increasing air pollution because it leads to harmful gases. Students, hint, hint, don't forget about part 2 and what we said in part 2 with the Hudson Bay. Try to make that connection there. Okay, don't forget. It's so many students forget so quickly to connect their ideas to their part 2 response. Okay? Pedram says, mostly because we are living in this polluted place and it affects both individuals and animals' health, as well as I mentioned in the last section. Moreover, unhealthy animals, which become our food, harm people's longevity. Last week, I read an article that stated 47% of diseases are a result of eating polluted plants and toxic seafood. I made a couple of corrections there. Take note of those. Rodrigo Duarte says, it has become a growing concern nowadays, more than in the last centuries, as we are worried about how life for future generations is going to be in comparison. Okay, and then Rodrigo continues with, a recent study showed that by 2050, there will be more plastic than animals in the oceans if humankind continues on this path of not preserving the planet. Good, Rodrigo. Ferdov says, in comparison to 200 years ago, individuals feel and see the detrimental effects of pollution. Ferdov's good start. I think you can definitely add a bit more there. Dalmeet Kaur Khalsa says, in my opinion, it's just because of the activities of humans, like creating industries and more pollution, which contribute ultimately to increasing the amount of waste. Dalmeet, careful with your grammar, with your word selection. Speak in complete sentences. Don't use ... okay? Because you can't do that when you're speaking to the examiner. Students, you shouldn't use the words etc. and so on with the examiner. And don't say ... Okay, the examiner will be like, you're writing or speaking? So write as you speak in this class, students. And don't double up your I think and in my opinion. Okay, I think, in my opinion, it's the same. Say one, the other, not both. Okay. Mario Luigi says, in my opinion, the main cause of becoming more concerned about pollution is the much more dangerous waste due to the increasing population of the earth and development of new technologies. Okay, Mario Luigi, you have a good idea there. I had to make a few corrections to your grammar and word choice. So pay attention to that. And Mario Luigi and others, please only write your comments into the chat once. Okay, don't spam the chat. Hikmatillo says, I think these days the main problem is the large number of pollution or population, and industrialization compared to past generations. Nowadays, people are responsible for creating much more pollution. Okay, good. All right, you're on the right track, I think, a lot of you. So, certainly, there is a lot more waste and pollution nowadays than a couple of centuries back. This is mainly a result of population explosion, industrialization, and consumerism. Not only are there over 8 billion people on Earth, but all of these people are creating more waste than ever before. So now pollution is quite evident in people's daily lives, such as pop bottles washed up on the beach and candy wrappers sticking out of the ground. All right. Like around the Hudson Bay. Oh, there's my connection. Right? Remember, connect to part 2. Okay? So, again, a nice, long, fluent answer. I'm pushing you for band 9. Repeat after me. Okay? Repeat after me. Here we go. Why has pollution become a much more serious concern these days than a couple of 100 years ago? Certainly, there is a lot more waste and pollution nowadays than a couple of centuries back. This is mainly a result of population explosion, industrialization, and consumerism. Not only are there over 8 billion people on Earth, but all of these people are creating more waste than ever before. So now pollution is quite evident in people's daily lives, such as pop bottles washed up on the beach and candy wrappers sticking out of the ground, like around the Hudson Bay. All right, students, consumerism, it's a nice word. Consumerism means to consume. It means to buy, to purchase, to get, to shop, and use, okay? That's consumerism. All right. So, follow-up question. How can the problem of pollution be stopped? That's a good question. And it's okay to say that. You can say that to your examiner. Ooh, that's a good question. All right, it's natural. Okay. The answer's not too long. Who was that just said that? Pedram says, I think this answer's too long. No, Pedram, it's not too long as you're fluent. If you can fluently give a direct, accurate answer like that, it's totally fine. If you can't, if you get stuck, then it is too long, okay? So if you're band 9 and you can fluently say that, as I have, it's totally fine, okay? All right, next question. How can the problem of pollution be stopped? And you can start with, oh, that is an interesting or an important and difficult question, okay? Not because of the grammar, not because of the vocabulary, because it's a difficult question. There are a lot of people thinking about that answer as we speak. I'm sure of it, okay? Ferdov says, as I mentioned in part 2, government authorities have to be responsible for stopping pollution. They need to take under control all of the spheres where pollution happens and create rules and enforce them strictly. Good for Dobbs. Watch your grammar. I made some real-time corrections there. Otherwise, not bad at all. Okay. I can't read the Cyrillic name, I'm sorry, but I will read your answer. In my humble opinion, both governments as well as individuals should be responsible for that. For example, by using more eco-friendly products, such as, so I would add at least 1 or 2 quick examples, okay? Such as LED lights and reusable cups. Okay, something like that, or reusable bottles. Okay, Kyobil Kiramanov says, well, that is a rather complicated issue to deal with. I think we should firstly alter our nature-disturbing lifestyle. Moreover, we should utilize environmentally friendly products to help save our planet, like reusable water bottles and driving electric vehicles. Right, Kyobil, sure. Okay, that's good. Again, remember your examples. Rodrigo says, I think that this can't be stopped 100%, but it can be decreased over the years as government reviews public policies and do more to raise the awareness of pollution. And then I see you have an example there, Rodrigo, which is good. So Rodrigo says, recently in Rio de Janeiro, the government sanctioned a law forbidding the use of plastic straws. Yeah, students, plastic straws might become collectible items, believe it or not, eventually, because a lot of countries are banning the use of plastic straws over the next year. Okay, it's a nice answer. All right. Rajveer Singh says, not only should authorities create new policies to counter pollution by imposing hundreds of dollars of fines for polluters, but also individuals should adapt an environmentally friendly lifestyle, such as not using plastic bags. Very good, Rajveer. Nice. I like how some of you are saying that the government and individuals are responsible for this. Okay, so again, and I like how a couple of you made that connection. Oh, that's an important and difficult question. Well, as I recommended in part 2, governments need to intervene I'll figure out the spelling on that in a second. So governments need to intervene and create strict rules to save the environment, such as a $5,000 fine for littering. Also, individuals must adapt or adopt an environmentally friendly lifestyle, like using backpacks when shopping instead of plastic bags, in order to hamper the problems of pollution. E. It's an E. All right. Here we go. Repeat after me. How can the problem of pollution be stopped? Oh, that's an important and difficult question. Well, as I recommended in part 2, governments need to intervene and create strict rules to save the environment, such as a $5,000 fine for littering. Also, individuals must adopt an environmentally friendly lifestyle, like using backpacks when shopping instead of plastic bags, in order to hamper the problems of pollution. Okay. So far, so good. Let's go to the next question. Here we go. Some people say that we do not inherit the earth from our parents, but we borrow it from our children. Do you agree with this statement? Why or why not? Give me a nice full sentence answer for this one. Okay? So some people say that we do not inherit the earth from our parents, but we borrow it from our children. Do you agree with this statement? Why or why not? Ferdov says, although certain individuals ascertain that we don't take the present earth from our ancestors, I argue it as our parents take care of the earth more than us and our children. Ferdov, I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that. It's the statement that you're agreeing with or disagreeing with. Pachu says, well, I agree with this proverb. We do not inherit the earth from our parents, but we do borrow it from our kids. This means that we only care about the future environment, which should be clean and tidy. Yeah, nice, Pachu. And you continue there a little bit, I see. Because our future generations should be safe and healthy. Really nice, Pachu. Very nice logic, good use of vocabulary. That's great. Okay. Mario Luigi says, I would definitely agree with this statement because every generation damages our Mother Earth and does not even notice the decreasing level of breathable oxygen. All right, Mario. That's a nice answer as well. A little bit of a grammar correction. Sue, 41210 says, yes, I absolutely agree with this statement, as instead of just living for today, we should think about how our actions will affect the planet and future generations. Okay, good, Sue. I think you're on the right track. Okay. Pedram says, I absolutely do not agree with this statement, as we inherit this beautiful planet with bays from our ancestors, and they take a good care of it. It should be our moral obligation to learn from our ancestors and to do the same. Okay, Pedram, so you're taking a different approach. Yes, it's a very provocative question, and you can take a different view on it. That's great. Zinia Zinu says, yes, I agree with this statement because children are going to be the future living users of our earth, and they're going to be affected by our current practices. Very good, Zinia. Okay. Susan Gurung says, I definitely agree with the statement because everything we do is for the betterment of our future and our children's future. Good. Nice. Some good arguments, good answers there, students. All right. I absolutely agree with this statement, as people must consider the well-being of Mother Earth for future generations. I believe it is important for most people that their children enjoy a safe and clean future with the same plants and animals that we have today. Ultimately, we must ensure the survival of the human race, and this means taking better care of nature. All right. So, students, repeat after me. Some people say that we do not inherit the earth from our parents, but we borrow it from our children. Do you agree with this statement? Why or why not? I absolutely agree with this statement, as people must consider the well-being of Mother Earth for future generations. I believe it is important for most people that their children enjoy a safe and clean future with the same plants and animals that we have today. Ultimately, we must ensure the survival of the human race, and this means taking better care of nature. And on that beautiful note, I will wrap up today's class. Students, here are some more Part 3 questions related to the topic of Part 2. Let's talk about saving the environment. What kinds of technology have been developed to help restore the health of the environment? Which of these should be paid the most attention to for the betterment of Earth? How can people be encouraged further to recycle more and not just carelessly throw away plastics and paper? I challenge you to do that for homework. Again, record on your mobile devices. You can email it to me. I will gladly give you a score estimate. And for all of our viewers, over the next couple days, while I take a break and come back on Wednesday, make sure to join our premium packages at aehelp.com, gieltshelp.com. Download our apps, Academic IELTS Help and General IELTS Help. This is our General IELTS web portal here with the green background at gieltshelp.com. Click that big red button to join us there. And this is our academic at aehelp.com. Click that big red button to join our premium packages there. Much love to all of you from the heart of Budapest. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your weekend, a great start to the next week, and I will be back on Wednesday at this time with Speaking Part 1 Practice. Bye for now, everyone.